Welcome back, comrades, to DIY by NZguy, where workspace is always at a premium. As you can see, this is my OZITO wall. I keep it a little bit covered from the dust. Unfortunately, it's in a great spot where I can't reach it because I always keep putting things in front of it. No good. So today, found a perfect place for it, which is this cavity in what used to be a wall in a garage. I'm thinking if I can build something that's gonna fit in here, that would be great. What I can utilize is I can start it from this wall, so which means it's not gonna go out too deep, and I have all my tools here because this is where my main workbench is at the moment, and if I'm going to replace it, it will be a bench of similar height, because I do have a bench here that I kind of can shoot off. So the idea is, just built something here. Everything should be within reach, because I can reach pretty much to the top just by leaning over a little bit, which should be good. So let's measure it up. Well, I already did that. Unfortunately, old builders, from here to here, 68. From here to there, 70. I want to make a 70 by 96 or 95, whichever distance this is. Obviously centimeters. So there's a couple of things we got to do. We're going to move the cables nice and gently to the top. Just keep them along there. Hopefully they won't be too stretched and I'll have enough play for me to move them. This switch was for the internal light. I'm going to leave that for now. That's another project. I don't want to play with electricity at this stage. Obviously power outlet right here. Oh shush, we've got a power outlet. I don't know if it works. We'll test that out. So yeah, my idea is to build something up here that will store the chargers, store the drills, store the grinders, all the bits and pieces that I need. I do have some bulky ones like a vac cleaner. Obviously that's not gonna go in, but I want something right in front, so when I need it, I come to the bench, reach over, grab it, and can use it, instead of trying to jump over all of this, get to that, and then try to find your footing there so you can just get to that. So that's where we are. I'm just going to take some measurements, figure something out, and go from there. There we go. Tidy it up a little bit. This is the next one. Already checked with a voltmeter. There's no power there, but strangely there is power on there. And one of the little cables, already marked it, goes around somewhere there, I think. Goes out here. Oh wait, comes out there. Goes to this light, because when I was fiddling with it, the light went off. But the switch for that light is over here. Right? That is quite stranger. So, just need to figure this out. I'm thinking of moving this a little bit, because I want to glue that up. Maybe make it a little bit straighter. Make sure everything's squared off and can fit in there perfectly. And then we'll continue, can make the little box. Just glued up this corner that's been broken. Before I install this beam where it was, obviously the right height, because when I initially installed it I wasn't. Gonna give it a quick sanding to get rid of the you know, 60-year-old dust that's been on there. For that, just going to use my OZITO orbital sander. Now, I've done a review on this one before, so you can find it if you want to see how it works. But we'll just check out the result. So just finished sanding this. Make sure you wear a PPE, like a dust mask, because you don't want to breathe in the 60-year-old gunk that was on top. It's got a fan going there to blow up the dust out the garage. I'm thinking I'm not gonna glue this one in, just in case I decide to remove it or something, maybe a year later. So I decided to just secure it with some screws. Gonna light it up, put it up properly, pre-drill the holes, some of them already in a good location, and then just drive it in and hopefully it'll hold. Cool. There we go. It's installed. Screws tightened up. I decided to use cheapy screws because I don't think this place will gonna get a lot of moisture, so rust shouldn't be an issue. Plus the nails in there lasted so long, so shouldn't be an issue with this. I'm just thinking just gonna put a dab of glue here, just because I want to close up these little tiny gaps. Not gonna glue the whole thing because, as I said, if I want to knock it out, so I'll be able to do that. Cool, and our space is complete. Next thing, find the materials, cut, assemble, and install. So already glued this one in. Glued, screwed, and tattooed. A little bit of glue there and on there. It's holding on nice and strong. Already went ahead and used a bit of a chisel to get rid of some of the high spots, just so that I can put it more closer to the wall. I had a few ideas how I'm going to distribute my drills, my lights, and all that. So, but I thought having ergonomics is quite important. So hence, if I'm going to do it, chargers are here, so it's easy to reach. Some of the less useful stuff at the top, most commonly used stuff at the bottom, and then gradually going up. Most importantly, building this box, as you could see. I do feel like it's going to be 33 deep is good. And I'm already thinking about what size I've got, what I need. So this is the video where we hunt down the material from the stack of stuff that I got. So I do have some 12mm, other mil, more mil, and 12mm. So I'm just going to pull that out, strewn it across, so that way I know what I've got, what I can use, how good of a shape it is, and we'll go from there. I do have a few bits that are good, nice and big, so they can go on the back. That could be their door, so things like that. So let's have a look once I pull it all out. So I pulled out the materials, found some 12mm thickness, 8 and good old 15. Measured them up, and let's see what we have. We've got 8mm, nice and big. I think they'll be perfect for the backboard, for a couple of sides, left and right. This one's a little bit short, to be honest, so a little bit disappointed. Maybe it can go on the bottom, because this one is just not enough to cover 3 sides, which is a little bit disappointing, but it is what it is. Then the 15mm I think will make a good door. You know, it should open up just in front, just so that I can cover it up and no dust will go inside. The box size we need is 700 by 970. I can make it to 95 or so. It's just I'll play around with the numbers. Maybe that length will fit into there and it'll be perfect. So just give me a moment. So thanks to quick mathematical manipulations, we can figure out that the 12mm we've got, the one that's nice and wide, more than 330, is going to be enough for 3 sides, and the 4th side can come from the 15mm. Okay, so perfect. So what we're going to do is cut that one to lengths, create the 3 walls, cut that one, put it on top, screw it all together, make sure it fits in, and then we can always, the edge of it, how much we need to trim off, we can come back and cut it. So I can potentially make it 35 out, or 33, or even 38, whatever is going to work for us. So first we're going to build it up, install it, and then we can easily see what fits in best. Cool. And this 32mm one, or sorry, 320 wide, it can go inside to make up all the little shelving that I might want to install. So perfect, we have our plan. Let's get cutting. Sweet, so I tidied up the table a little bit, set up the board, measured it out, and here's the first pre-shoe. Measured it out, 675 or 674. Depends which one you look at. A little bit strange. Obviously 1mm shouldn't be a difference, but if you're going to use one for one border, you're going to use this one, and then the other one you use that one, something's going to not match up. I'm going to go with the latter because I already used this one. So this one we'll put aside. I'm going to continue on with this one, measuring it out. There we go. A few cuts later, I've got my 15mm, 12mm, 12mm, 12mm. So they're more or less the same. These are going to be the sides, left and right. This is going to be top and bottom. Cool. Nice and easy. What we're going to do is pre-assemble these. I know that one of them is sticking out a little bit different, but as I said, we're going to be trimming that edge all around the box, so at the moment it doesn't really matter. And then what we're going to do is measure it out perfectly, see what size it is, and cut the back for it from 8mm plywood. Glue it on, screw it on, and after that our box is done, and then we can test fit it into our cavity. Stay tuned. There we go. We gave these pieces a little bit of sanding, figure out which side is which. Obviously it's going to be at the top in this position. Time to assemble. I'm not going to use glue, just in case I want to take it apart, maybe modify it. What I am going to use is a whole bunch of jib screws. I'm thinking I'm just going to go crazy with these since I got quite a bit, and I got more where this came from. They're not too long, but if you push them through, they do protrude, you know, a fair bit. It should hold on all right. And I am going to pre-drill them. So first we're going to use this drill in 2.5mm. Well, maybe I should go for 2. We'll go for 2mm, 2.5. Should be just big enough. Then I'm going to use our chromey one, to drill just a bit, just enough to go through. Okay, not too deep. And then finally we're going to drive it in with this one. So on a little using little 3 drill drivers. Some of them I bought off Trade Me for cheap, like this one, nice and used, still has its own old battery. Can't believe it works, but most importantly, we are utilizing the tools we have. There we go, got a bit of a counterbalance there, just utilizing these little triangle speed squares just so I can get the angles initially right. After that we'll adjust this. As I said, just drilling and screwing the screws in. I'm not measuring any distances, just as many as I feel like will be good. Yeah, ignore that noise. So you're doing a little bit of a balancing act. Having these ones, yeah, it's got to be real careful. Just gonna drill from the bottom, and then yeah, hopefully it'll stick together without falling apart. Can finish drilling before it all falls apart, eh? There we go, just 2 little screws. As you can see, it's bowing a bit, so what I'm going to do is somehow push that in and put the screws in while it's pushed in, and then should be all good. Otherwise, yeah, it's all kind of holding on, standing there sturdy, 90 degrees. That's what we're looking for. There we go, that side is done. So this is my back. This is where I'm gonna put the backboard. So these ones, I'm just gonna make sure I've got it rested on there. The height of this is perfect. Can't be too high, can't be too low, otherwise the backboard won't go well. Put a couple of screws here, lift that one up, put a couple of screws there, and then finish it off alongside. It's not the same height if you put it down, as you can see, and that's just how I cut it. I didn't want to muck around with getting millimeters perfect, not on this job. So this thing is just going to help me, so the left hand side, yeah that's right, is not going to sag, and we can concentrate on getting this corner perfect. So unfortunately we ran into a little bit of trouble. Even though I was pre-drilling, the plywood is too cheap, so it has split. Only way I can see to fix this is I'm going to put a little bit of glue in there, make sure it gets as far as it can, and then clamp it, leave the clamp on, and yeah, put the board back on. So let's see what we can do. There we go, nice and even up here, maybe a tiny bit, but that shouldn't matter too much. Got this clamp, I'm going to keep it on there till the glue sets. It might glue it up a bit, but it's just a tiny bit. But as you can see, that one's good. Same thing here, it's all good. I'm just gonna, you know, line things up, put more screws in, make sure it all holds, and then our box is complete. Just got to do the back for it. There we go, it's all complete, nice and even for the most part. This tiny bit, that shouldn't matter. I'm going to put that screw in back later. At the moment I think these ones should be sufficient to hold it in. And there we go, our box is complete. I just got to do one more thing to double check if it's all right. That's about 95 and 4. Jump there a little bit further down. 95 and 5, so 1 mil off. That's okay. Most importantly, you need to see if it's square. So 118.5, right on the dot. Okay. And let's see what we got. Ooh, 118. Okay, so tiny bit off on the square part, but that's not a biggie. We can always fix that up by just squeezing it a little bit in that direction and so forth. But most importantly, let me put it in. Most importantly, it fits in. There's some gouges which I'm going to remove, and now once everything's settled, I'll be able to put my tools inside, side by side, and it'll be nice and easy. Just going to have them all in one place, or most of them. The big ones can bugger off. So when you need it, you just go in, grab it, grab the bit, have the chargers going, so all the batteries will be charged. Sweet. So this is the idea. I'm glad it's looking quite nicely. Just gonna work on the back. There we go. A lot of work trying to get it accurate, but at least it's done. It's cut, it's square, and it fits nicely. That's what's important. Sweet. I do have this little bit of a ledge. I just don't know, do I want to get rid of it? Or maybe try to shove it just under there. Unfortunately, I do have some brickwork that's in the way. Hold on, hold on. I just had an idea. What if we push this one down? That way it's square at the top. Yeah, don't mind that. We're gonna screw that down. And that little ledge can just go behind there. Let's just pull that back a bit. Yeah. There's nothing in the way there. It's nice and straight. Perfect. I think that will be a much better idea. That way I don't have to do too many cuts. I can still square it off. And once it's installed, it's not gonna get in the way. Win-win, baby. There we go. 3 sides are done. Nice and even. And this last bit, just going to use this as a guide, just so that I know I'm going to drill just about there. Also, I know I measured it with the straight edge. It's not so straight, so I pushed it in, keeping it straight, clamp it down, and that way I'm not going to miss anything when drilling through. Cool, same thing here. Just going to use that as a guide, put a few screws, and then we're almost done. There we go. It's kind of done. Yeah, it's missing a few screws here and there, because I want to triple up here, double up on the sides, double up at the bottom. Just make sure it's nice and solid. But that can be done a bit later. At the moment, I want to fit it in and see how it looks. There we go. Left side, bottom side, top side, and right side. Perfect. Sits in there. I just put this little spacer just to make sure it doesn't lean. But it's already nice and tight. As soon as it tries to go, it just catches on. That's how tight it is. Yes, there is a bit of a gap on the side, but that's a little bit unfortunate. It's when I was assuming that the length was 230 you know, 2 meters 30. I actually must have mismeasured and it wasn't the right length. So when I cut these out of it, the bottom one, it was just 95 instead of 97 how I wanted it. So hence the 2 centimeters on this side and that side. But it works out for the best because I feel like the gaps are not 100% even. As you can see, nice and tight up there, not so tight down there. So it kind of works out for the better. I'm just quite happy how it looks. Because I haven't trimmed anything yet, this looks real deep, like massively deep. But I can still reach pretty much every part of the wall, which is good. And when I'm ready, man, I'm gonna be stacking all my stuff there, eh? And one more. So look at that. That's gonna be beautiful. Grinders, sanders, reciprocating saws, everything's gonna be in here. Charger's gonna be up there. Or these gonna be in the middle. I don't know. I haven't figured that whole thing out. Most importantly, the box is done. Next thing, we're going to figure out how deep we need it, trim it, but leave a gap, build up a door, work on the interior, how we're going to put everything, spaces, because as you can see, some things I might want to leave the battery in, and I want to just put it in instead of try to take out the battery and try to put it in. So it's going to have a good height to compensate a big battery and the equipment. Sweet. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been DIY by NZguy. Toolbox on a wall. Hope you have learned something.